university academics level, and education falls under the Department of Anthropology at school at the university level. So the four of us are going to set up with a chain of command and then have divisions and departments. And ACO Association.com has some articles and bylaws I've used for many, many years, whether I wore uniform or out, and working with Allied Command. But how I see it is ACR, which is at one time was my company. We were Advisory Council, Intergovernment Relations. So we had an ambassador type of position. That's not my dog, but that's okay. That's Ken's, I think.
That's
but
my
the
dog.
thing is,
I'm sorry.
Yep. We're going to have dogs on our show because we're doing this live, folks, and we're just meager. I guess you could say we're all four retired from working with the government or in the government, around the government, but we do radio now. And we're coming together with all these free people putting out information, but what we have in common is we're interested in UFOs, anomalies, unidentified anomalous phenomena, as it's said these days, UAP, and we will even discuss USOs, which is unidentified submersible objects, and do all we can to bring it all together so you understand in an entertainment way, educationally, that we're just volunteers that are organizing an association and an organization that hopefully we can meet you from time to time, and we're all authors as well. So we're authors and we're artists, and we're going to put together a magazine. Ahmed, why don't we come back to you, and then it'll be Ken and Janet again. So back to you, Ahmed. Can you tell us a little bit about how you foresee something pulled together of all these stories? Words.
Well, first I'm going to make a comment about the UFO and acronym. When I was in the military in the 70s, we didn't call them UFOs, we called them FOFs, which stood for friend or foe. That's all they were interested. That's all they were interested in the 70s, was if they were friendly or if they were an enemy.
Absolutely right. Because I was in before then, as you know. Go ahead.
and that was just that's just one of them acronyms. I mean, you might find a lot of information on FOS that isn't classified as UFOs or submerged objects, USOs, or however you pronounce it. So if somebody wants to search that might give them another key direction to go in. As far as pulling this together, I hope we can, because personally I think when contact is made, it's going to be made through an organization that is not government run, because we know the government's been, put it this way, we believe the government's been in cahoots with some of these people, UFO people, or extraterrestrial races. I mean, they're still people to me. And nothing has been done. We've not gained no knowledge. We've gained no spirituality from these people because the government suppresses the information. And I think when they are ready to make a disclosure, they're going to come to a privately run organization, and not just separate people. Yes, they're going to contact certain people here and there and that, but if you listen to a lot of these people, if you can't believe all of them because they all don't agree. So I believe they're going to contact an organization that is set up in favor of positive contact, and I think that's what we're trying to obtain here. I think that's about it. I've got to say.
Okay, Ken.
Yeah, that's. Well, I'm just going to jump over to Janet right now. Janet, did you want to add something into what he just said?
Well, I work with a lot of experiencers, and I think we are in a huge time of contact. When I started this, even 5 years ago, or whenever, there were just few and far between. There were the known ones like Cynthia Crawford and a few, Betty and Barney Hill, and and everybody was in the closet. But it's like the Me Too movement. Now people will say, "Me too. I've had ET contacts as well." And the same with the secret space program. Some of them might be called super soldiers. Some might be called, I don't know, Noxwatton, all these different moon-based, Mars-based transport ships going in and out of space. So I'm just the historian. Years ago when I was at your spiritual center and I went to one of their special workshops, they were doing table tipping, which I know most people don't know what that is, but I was blown away by table tipping. And during that session, they said to me, "Oh, Janet, she's the historian. She's the one here to document it all." So I'm doing my job, apparently. I came to this planet, and then they said that Janet doesn't have very many incarnations. She came here to record this for posterity. So I'm doing my job. I'm participating, and I am a lifelong experiencer. And I know, I'm not one for predictions. I'm not a psychic that way. But I just feel that 2020 is going to be amazing in terms of what comes out, transformational, and I keep holding space for it being in a positive direction, because on some level we're all co-creating this, and when we focus on the dark and the pain and evil and destruction, it grows. And it's like that Star Trek episode where they got the Romulans, the Klingons and Kirk's, it was the Kirk show, and Kirk's crew, they got invaded by this angry circling orb in the ship, and everywhere they were fighting, it would get bigger and bigger, and then they would kill each other, and they'd be killed, and they come back, and they go, "We can't stay dead. We're going to be fighting for eternity." And then somebody noticed this little dark circle glowing and getting bigger and feeding off the energy of them killing each other. And they said, "No, we're not going to let you play with us like a bunch of soldiers on a chessboard." And they started to laugh at it, and they laughed at it, and it left out the hull of the ship and went into space. So on some level, we need to be aware that this game of us being pitted against each other is just being directed by something. It could be us on a higher level, but it's no longer serving us. And when we get more aligned with peace, and the extraterrestrials are going to be able to work. They're there all along. We'll be able to see them and interact with them. And we're going to draw the ones that are loving and kind and conscious into our lives, into our awareness, and be able to communicate with them. So TJ and I spoke briefly, and I'm almost done. I get contact every night now. I'm so blown away. I'm just going, what is going on? It's amazing, amazing contact. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know TJ just shared, we had about 2 minutes before the show, but I'm getting a lot of people saying, I'm getting contact, weekly or monthly, or some of us are nightly. So I'll pass it back to whoever's next. I guess, TJ, you're next.
All right. I'd like to put in, folks, that we're relating to the Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe, and Allied Command Transformation. And maybe somewhere subliminally, like Janet said, or somehow we knew this on some levels, that maybe in and out of government or working around government offices, that we came up with acronyms like ACO and ACE. But Bob Dean, and I did not understand all that we were going to be doing, sharing Allied Command Organization, but their Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe, which Bob Dean used to talk about, is SHAPE. Now, that's Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe, SHAPE, and that's where he worked, okay, in Europe. And so that is, when you pull up, you're going to see a lot of military, but I'd just like to mention for recording for historical reasons, there's Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers, there's Allied Joint Force Command Brigade, NATO Response Force, Allied Joint Force Command, and United States European Command, Joint Warfare Center, International Security Assistance Force, I guess the F, I can't see it, it's got dots, then Allied Command Transformation. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 related to Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe, and Allied Command Transformation. And the Allied Command Transformation logo looks like it has the world in it. It's only got 4 stars. Well, in our Command, we have 5 stars. And then I've got the Allied Command Intergalactic Relations logo with an eagle and 5 stars in it. And my husband had a 5-star patch worn in space with the stars in a circle, oval, whether gold braid or on black or gray uniform. So this is something I'd like to discuss is the ACIR Allied Command Intergalactic Relation patch. And that's the one I've been under, ACIR, and also the Supreme Allied Command, which is the 5-star patch, or one large. Oh goodness, that I must be. Let me see if that's. Yeah, that's Ken. He must be jacking with his thing. Let me see.
Oh, I thought. Oops, just a minute.
Okay, hold. Yeah.
No, I should be on now. It's I don't have a headset set up yet. I'll get better organized now that you're putting me in a spot where I better be able to handle what you're throwing at me here. So, yeah, that sounds great. That's one of the things I wanted us to be able to discuss tonight is kind of come up with the proper terminology or the proper acronym, if you will, for the organization, so that we're not stepping on any of the toes of the other organizations around there, but yet good enough that we can all speak together in the same language, meaning the same objectives and goal, and that is for full disclosure and for direct contact, and be able to, because the way I look at it, at 77 years old, which is not very old since I'm going to live to 180 plus, those of you who want to follow that one can do it, but if we keep everybody focused on expanding, you talk to the average person nowadays, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm sure there's extraterrestrials out there," or "Well, I've actually had an experience." And people are not quite as terrified or afraid to come forward with their individual experiences, and it's with that kind of an attitude that makes it easier for all of us to be able to function and to be able to organize this group worldwide. So I'm here for the run of things as long as we're all working together as a team. And I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, being an old Marine from Marine Corps, snipers pick them off one at a time, and we don't want to be picked off. We want to stay solid and with the same objective, and that is full disclosure and helping us as Homo sapiens on the planet Earth to join in on some of the intergalactic organizations. So perhaps, TJ, you were throwing out some ideas a little earlier on the full title that this organization should have. Can you enlighten a little bit more on that?
Well, I use the ACO for the acronym, and I use ACE. And the reason was I used ACE in the folk life, meaning myth versus history, ACO that I was trying to work with. But back in 1945, there was a disbandment under Eisenhower. And from what I understood from my husband, that working with Supreme Allied Command in space in uniform with our logos is, I don't know whether we want to use those used off planet or not. So this is up to, all 4 of us, I guess, to start with. But the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, Ken, had like a flaming sword on a chevron and with red, blue, green, like a rainbow, but effect on the top. But that was Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary, SHAEF. And Arthur Tedder was the commander, and Dwight D. Eisenhower was the Supreme Commander. But that was allies of World War II. So we need to be allies of, hopefully not the war coming, but the Allied Command that I worked with was like protectors of this galaxy, but we were universal. And Tom and I's position was with the Allied Command as far as this quadrant, running a quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. But it was only where we are in this, because we had this outside corner of like the Milky Way galaxy, but we were out in space and went over to the Andromeda galaxy. So Janet was always interested in the fleet, which you're now fleet commander in our organization. Well, she liked the 5 ships. We have yet to write all that, but I have it, the picture